Articulation is our ability to be understood by our listener, and the clarity of your articulation is fully dependent on the correct placement of your consonants. Now, in Australia, it seems to have happened over the last couple of decades that it's quite cool to not sort of move your mouth, and basically making most Australians, especially overseas, relatively unintelligible. You can see what happens when we don't use our 6 articulators with ease and correctly. We actually are very difficult to understand. We have 6 articulators: the lips, the teeth, the tongue in 3 sections: the blade tip, the center, and the back of the tongue. Lips, teeth, tongue, hard palate, which is just behind your top teeth. The soft palate, which if you trace your finger back along the roof of your mouth, you'll come to it, and if you push too hard, you'll gag. It works back there, and the transition between the hard and the soft palate is just as smooth as. And the last one is our lower jaw. Now, these 6 pieces of apparatus work together to create speech for us. So don't be trapped into thinking that because you're using a microphone to do your voiceovers or using a microphone to speak in a live situation, that is going to make up for a lack of good articulation. Remember that a microphone is attached to an amplifier, and an amplifier does exactly what its name says: it amplifies. So if you have poor diction, poor articulation, it will be amplified. And that is exactly what we don't need. Consonants fall into 2 categories: plosive and continuant. Plosive consonants are created when the articulators working together create an obstruction. As the breath passes through the vocal fold and comes into that space where the articulators are operating, that obstruction is then broken. For example, the main 6 are P and B, T and D, and K and G. Now they further break down into 2 categories. One is breathed or unvoiced, and the other is voiced. For example, let's take P and B. Both created with the lips. The air comes up, the lips are closed, and as the explosion of air happens, the lips part. Now, P, P, P is a breathed consonant. There's no vocalization. Your vocal fold is not working at all at that time. Its partner is B, B, B. Both P and B are created with the same set of articulators, and they are the lips. So let's try 3 P's together and then 3 B's together. Take a good breath and P, P, P. B, B, B. And again. P, P, P. B, B, B. Let's now look at T and D. These 2 consonants are created with the blade tip of the tongue against the alveolar ridge. That creates your obstruction. As the breath comes up, the tip of the tongue is released and the air comes out. Let's try 3 T's and 3 D's together. Breathe in and T, T, T. D, D, D. Again, T, T, T. D, D, D. And now let's look at K and G. These are created with the interplay between the back of the tongue and the soft palate. And if you really bite into these consonants, you will actually feel them meeting at the back of your throat. And breathe in. Remember, K is breathed, K, K, not K, 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 not vocalized, K, K. And G is vocalized. Here we go. Breathe in and K, K, K. G, G, G. And again. K, K, K. G, G, G. Let's have a look now at our 3 nasal consonants, which we've already explored under the banner of resonation. So we've got M, mm, N, mm, and NG. Mm. You can locate the NG combination of consonants, which we don't use very much in English apart from the end of, the occasional word. It's used a lot in Asian languages. You can locate it by saying the word sing and then holding that last sound, sing. And you can feel the back of the tongue and the soft palate sort of biting into one another a little bit. And it will have a nasal quality to it. As the NG is created, you'll feel that the tongue sits at the top of the teeth, and that is the correct feeling. Let's go again. A lower note this time. Breathe in and now, if you want to extend it, and this is a wonderful warm-up for your voice, we can actually siren that sound. Sounds a bit weird, but it's a really good exercise. And it looks and sounds like this. Breathe in. What I did with the pitch that time was cycle it all the way up in a big figure 8, bring it down below my starting note, and then finish on my starting note again. Let's do that exercise again. Pick a different note this time. Here we go. Breathe in and it breaks the sound barrier and it exercises pretty much the extent of your vocal range. The remaining consonants, there are 8 of them. You'll be able to exercise all of those. They're in the notes and they are also in pairs, breathed and voiced. Tongue twisters are the best way forward and the best way to exercise all of your consonants. Using our plosive consonants, let's look at a little bit more of a challenging exercise. We're going to use 4/4 time, which means there are 4 beats in the bar, and then we're going to change the rhythm. So I'm going to beat those out with a wood block and a beater. And we're going to firstly do 4 P's in a row. Remember, they're breathed. Take a good breath. Here's our beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to put 2 P's into each of those beats, so they're going to become quavers. Here's our beat. It will sound like this. Let's do those 2 together, but this time we'll use B. Here we go. Here's our beat. B, 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 B. B, 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 B. Now, if you really want a challenge, you can then roll into triplets. Triplets sound like this. It's 3 sounds to the 1 beat. The beat remains the same. I'm going to use D this time. Now, if you're having difficulty locating what they sound like, you can actually break it down into fruit. I use this with kids all the time. So that a crotchet, the 1 beat, becomes pear, 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 g, 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 g. The quaver becomes apple, 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 apple. And the triplet becomes pineapple. Pineapple, 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 pineapple. Let's choose G. G, 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 g. A very worthwhile exercise, and it helps with your musicianship as well. As with breathing, relaxation and resonation, articulation is also a vocal life skill. So I can't encourage you enough to continue with your practice. Interestingly enough, you will notice as you're practicing and improving how many people do articulate well and how many people, even in a professional setting, actually don't articulate very well. So good luck and articulate.